So we're up here at the TT Grandstand. Of course, the scoreboard behind us is what everyone's talking about. We've known it for a long time. It was needing repairs or certainly maintenance in great quantities. So the word's been out there, Rob Callister, because this comes under you. You have responsibility for motorsport. And now we have the actual answer. This is going in the next day or two, I think, isn't it?
No, we're going to hopefully start dismantling it towards the end of the month. It'll be 2 stages. I think it's worth going back a step. 2018, we conducted an independent report. We engaged someone to do that for us, and the findings of that report were quite damning. It basically said that the steel structure was completely corroded, the wood was completely rotten. So what we did then, obviously taking those findings, we can't repair and keep repairing and keep repairing. So we then went out to consultation in January this year, and we're really grateful for everyone who responded. And I'll be quite
they want to
happy.
keep it, didn't they? I mean, I'm sure people do those sort of things normally want to keep things.
Yes, 74% of the people, 74% of the people that responded did say they wanted like for like when it gets rebuilt, and we've taken that on board. But then we spoke to other stakeholders, such as the Scouts Association, and they felt that they would like to keep that like-to-like feel, how it looks, how it feels, that heritage, that appeal, but at the same time adding a bit of extra technology in there, and we've taken that on board. And I think it was absolutely right that we gave the Scouts Association a little bit more weight in their response. So I'm hoping when the new one is built that it will still have that look, it still have that feel, that heritage, but adding a little bit of technology to bring it up to the 21st century. You've
had 1 year without the TT, and it could well be 2. I mean, that's another subject for another day, but does that make it easier to do this transition, to get rid of this and replace it? Does that take the pressure off you? Because it's like rebooting almost the TT, isn't it?
We already had this in earmarked because of that report in 2018. It said that you had less than 3 TTs left. We have now reached that stage in 2020. We now have to look at dismantling this one and look to rebuild. I think we've got to be absolutely fair with everybody and say this particular structure was probably built in the 1980s, so it's not 100 years worth of heritage.
It's been tampered with or tinkered with, maybe is a better word, over the years, hasn't it?
It's changed. I think most parts of it has changed, has actually been replaced at some point. So we do need to bring a new structure in place. What we're hoping to do is maybe towards the end of the year or going into next year, we'll have some concepts, some designs which we can put in the public domain, which we can then speak to our stakeholders, such as the Scouts Association, and actually ask for their opinion again.
What's your budget though? I mean, this thing is only used a couple of times a year, isn't it, at the end of the day? So, how much can you spend on something that is so little used? And I think choosing my words as cleverly as possible, because I'm going to upset TT people, but this is not an everyday item of national importance in that sense, but it's yet iconic.
Well, it is of national importance, right. And if you saw the amount of messages I got
national importance
in the last 24 hours,
right.
when the Manx Radio ran an article, then you'll understand how much passion people associate.
Absolutely, because people don't like change. They never like change.
But again, we've got to think about the economic value, not just this particular part of the TT, but the whole TT still generates. And I think when we actually look at building this new structure, we actually are committing to that event going into the future. We don't have any cost to this present moment. As I say, we're going out to tender, we're going out to design.
So you have no sort of idea? I mean, it's going to be the millions, right? These things always are in millions.
I can't tell you what the figure is, Paul, because I don't know. We're going to go out to tender, we're going to go out to design.
Would you be relaxed if it's in the millions?
We will have something for the end of the year. I don't know. I can't. Right. I'm not going to give you a figure out of the air, but the value...
I'm going to tell you it's going to be $1 million. I mean,
but the value of it is important to the event.
This side, we've got the TT Grandstand, which only in my lifetime, I still remember the old one, and that's now coming under your scrutiny. Is that also likely to be demolished and replaced?
I think the Chief Minister has already gone on public record to say he would like to see the whole of this site developed, and the scoreboard could be the first part. Now, the problem is as well, we've got to factor in that Glencutchery Road is going to go through a major resurfacing programme at some point in the future. So when we actually look to put this structure back, we've got to factor in that equation as well, and work with our partners in Department of Infrastructure as well.
So is it going to be modern? Is it going to be a sort of nod to the old, I mean, in your head, or is it completely up to what people come up with the ideas?
No, I think, as you say, from the consultation we held, people wanted a like for like. The Scouts said they wanted something, they wanted to keep the heritage, keep the feel, keep the look of it, so we've got to take all of that on board, and I'm still hoping when we get a new structure, it will look similar to what is there now, have that same feel, what people are absolutely used to seeing when they come to visit the TT, but maybe with some technology added in it to bring it up to the 21st century.
Now, we've got interviews coming up with also Manx National Heritage and the Scouts, so that's quite a lot of different interviews. But a little bit of this is going to be preserved anyway with Manx National Heritage. Will you be flogging bits off to people who want to put bits in their garden, or what's the plan? It's not going in the bin, right? Unless you have to, I guess.
It's definitely not going to go into the bin. As far as I understand, our colleagues in Manx National Heritage
they want bits of it, don't they?
They're going to take quite a large amount of it.
Yeah.
Some of it's going to go into storage to start with,
okay.
And then we're going to establish what we're going to do with it. But some of it will end up in the new TT display, which Manx National Heritage will open in a few years' time.
And you're going out to tender on this whole thing. When's it got to be built? I mean, for a TT the next year that may or may not happen, or longer than that?
No, I think, as I say, taking into account the road works that have got to happen, I think we'll have to put a temporary structure in place for 2021, and then we have to wait and see.
So what would that be? Electronically?
Again, we need to sit down and look at this, but we will be putting in a temporary structure in 2021. Right. It will give us the time to go through the designs, the concepts. It will give us an idea of budgets, and then hopefully we will look to build replace the structure as quickly as possible. However, factoring in that crucial road works. Will
this be in this Parliament, or do you think this will be happily left for the next one then? Because it's,
Are you talking about when it actually goes into situ?
Yeah, well, just the decision to be made. Will you be making that decision?
We will be making some of the design concepts and everything else. As I say, we'll hopefully have those plans and pictures available at the end of this year. When it goes back into, when the new structure gets put in place, it's probably going to be the next administration.
And what would you like, finally? What would you like?
I would like to see exactly the same as the feel that we have now. So when I look at it, the heritage there, you associate with it, but also a bit of modern technology, but making sure that we value the continuing contribution of the Scouts Association.
But the crash fencing, that really messed it all up, didn't it? I mean, you wouldn't want to do something that's going to make it look just like it is now, would you?
We have definitely got a chance here to remove that fencing. If you think about the Scouts, it's an absolute privilege to work on that scoreboard. Everybody could say, well, I remember as a child I worked on there. Not many of our Scouts have had to work behind that fence. It'll be really great when the new structure gets put in place that we can remove that fencing and the Scouts can continue to do the job they've done so many, many years. And we all love them in their connection of actually doing that during the TT event.